So the England team has been announced ahead of the game against Italy on Sunday. And I'll get on to Smith. Obviously, that is Marcus moving from 15 onto the bench. England, of course, have gone for a 6-2 split once again. JVP, Jack van Poortvliet, comes in ahead of Randall onto the bench as well. So we'll get to all that. But the first thing I want to talk about, and we're about for the love of rugby, is Jamie George. 99 caps. He's going to get his 100th cap for England. An incredible achievement. I want to be the first to say many, many congratulations, Jamie, or Jinxie, as we know him. Amazing servant to England rugby. To do it in the front row, to go on 2 Lions tour, hopefully a third come the summer. That many games. He's played over 300 games for Saracens as well. So that is an unbelievable amount of games that he's got under his belt. And I'm delighted for him. 100 caps. I saw an unbelievable interview and he spoke so openly honest about the captaincy and how he sort of felt about that and the rawness of that. And I just thought, like, what a guy. So well done, Jamie. 100 caps. So well deserved, mate. And I'm absolutely delighted for you. So he starts a hooker. And I'm so pleased that he gets that opportunity, like from the off, you know, rather than coming on as a finisher. So congrats, Jamie. Awesome. I was actually there for your 50th. When I got my 100 and he got his 50th, we ran out in an empty stadium in Italy. So this time you get to run out in front of a full house at Twickenham and you'll get the plaudits you absolutely deserve. So well done, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Now, moving on. Forwards is the same, so there's no change in that. So you've got Ollie Chesham packing down with Maratoji in the second row there. Front row the same, apart from obviously Jamie George coming in for Luke Cowan Dickey. Back row, they're going to go with the same balance again. I was a little bit worried whether Tom Curry would make himself fit, but great to see he was fit. He came off, of course, against Scotland. He looked like it was reported as a dead leg, but of course he's had a bad hip injury. So whenever he hobbles off, you can't help but the glass half empty and fear that it could be the hip. But thank goodness it isn't. He's recovered. Tom Willis is back in there again, of course, recovering from a head injury assessment and getting himself back out there. So I can't wait to see him get another go. Right, let's move on to the back line. And the big news, of course, is fullback. Elliot Daly comes in and starts, and Marcus Smith has now moved onto the bench. Elliot Daly will absolutely produce a great performance, I have no doubt. Proven fullback, proven test player, can play wing, can play fullback, can slot in at 13. Like, the guy is extremely good, proven on the biggest stage. No doubts he will deliver. So I'm not going to talk about Elliot as such. I'm going to talk more about Marcus. And I want to talk about, I'm trying to just understand the logic here, because for against France, they kick long and they pick Marcus at fullback, and I get it. It was a decision I understood. They're kicking long, he's going to counter-attack. Against Scotland, they kick shorter, and they expose that, I suppose, aspect of him, because he's a 10 having to try play fullback. And I want to know, like, is the experiment now over with Marcus Smith at fullback? Because arguably, against Italy, this is the game where you would say England, and I really think they'll win comfortably. I think that, you know, Italy have come a long way, but I think that England will put in a really good performance. I think that they'll play very, very well. And I see them winning pretty comfortably at the weekend. So would you not argue and say this is the perfect opportunity to give Marcus another shot at 15? And all the chat and the conversations that we're hearing from the England camp is, of course, they're going to try and play more rugby. They want to play more rugby. They want to build the phases, build pressure, ball in hand, which is terrific. Like, because we know they can do it. And I can't wait for them to see it do it. So then you'd say, well, Marcus is arguably one of the best sort of individual talents that we have in terms of creativity, in terms of beating defenders, in terms of making stuff happen around him. So you, like, why against Italy are we not suddenly putting him on the bench? And it's really hard one. I can't quite understand it, to be honest with you. And I feel for him. I really feel for the guy. He's now going to be on the bench, which then suggests, is he then going to come on to replace Finn Smith at 10? Or is he going to come on back into the game and go to fullback and replace Elliot Daly? So even that, if that's the case, then you're like, well, so you still do see him as a fullback, but you don't see him as a fullback against Italy. Then you'd say about Freddie Stewart, of course, you know, played the first game against Ireland. You know, it was only like sort of 18 months, 2 years ago that you sort of thought this guy was going to be England's shoe-in and number one for a long, long time. And now you think George Furbank, of course, is injured. They've played Marcus Smith there and now put Elliot in there. Does that mean Freddie's now fourth choice? Like, you know, that's another guy that must be, I feel for him, you know, I do. And I think for Marcus, like, is he now going to get a shot back into the game, back at 10? Is he going to get a chance last 20 minutes? And then it comes back to a little bit in the autumn where you think you don't really want to be changing your 10. Like, when a 10's in the groove and he's playing, you don't really want to replace him. So, Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think about it? As I say, I think Elliot Daly is a fantastic fullback, proven he will do great. He'll slot in there. He's got his obviously left foot kicking game. He's obviously got experience under the high ball, very, very strong under that, very, very solid, and he's a great organiser and distributor. So you've got all those aspects covered off. But I'm just curious to know why, if Marcus was the guy at 15 for the last 2 rounds, why against Italy is he not all of a sudden? And therefore, is the experiment of him being a fullback completely over and you just see him as a 10 now? And if so, you then, if you're Marcus, you're probably having the debate of, well, am I going to play? How long am I going to get? And, it's just a straight out shootout then. So, yeah, there's a lot of food for thought there. Then you look at the centres partnership. Of course, it's been Henry Slade and Ollie Lawrence for a long, long time now. Fraser Dingwall comes in. I think that one I understand. I think it's a great opportunity for Fraser Dingwall to show what he can do. It's probably a perfect game for him to come in. You look at the 9, 10, 12 axis now with Mitchell, Finn Smith, and of course Fraser Dingwall, all played together week in, week out. Saints. The way that Saints play, multi-phase team attack, go through the plays, go through the phases, build pressure, ball in hand, really lovely little subtle passes and movements. Can they transfer that into the England performance this weekend? Will they be allowed to do it? And can they get it at the test level? Of course, Fraser actually started a number of games at the beginning of last year's Six Nations, so he is tried and tested. So we know that he can do it. I am excited by that one. I like the look of that one, and it's a perfect game, Italy, to put him in there. So it's going to be a massive Northampton sort of flavour this week when you look at the back line. 9, 10, 12, 14, 11. And, like I say, I'm interested to see. We all know, anyone that watches Premiership Rugby, any Saints foot supporters out there, how that team gels and how they play. And they can be highly entertaining. Can they bring that at the test level? Will they be allowed to? Can they make it click? I really, really hope so. I really, genuinely hope so. One of the things that always helps with that synergy is just the fact that when you play with each other so regularly, like, so much of it is just done off feel at the time. So you look at the move that so many teams run, for instance, where it goes 9 to straight across to 12, 13 on a lead, it pulls it out the back to 10, you have winger on the shoulder. Like, with that synergy, it's going to be like a Saints player to another Saints player, out the back to another Saints player with another Saints player on the shoulder. So in theory, that Saints run that shape a lot. So in theory, that should look really smooth, and it's a great attacking play that so many teams run. There's a reason they run it, is because it gets to the edge. It exploits that wings defender so well. So I suspect they'll run that shape a lot, and if they run it like they do at Northampton, it can be highly effective. So those bits will help, and it's like I say, it's a high Northampton backline. If we just flip onto the bench briefly, JVP, Jack van Poortvliet, comes in for Harry Randall, of course. Jack scored a super try for England against Ireland A, and he slots back in there. Harry Randall drops out. Again, I think Jack unfortunately has had some injuries that have sort of kept him at bay a little bit just before the tournament started. He was meant to be in the squad, so he comes back in. So let's see how he goes on back in the game when he's unleashed. And will it be a JVP Marcus 9 and 10 combo, or will it be a JVP Finn Smith and Marcus at fullback? And if Marcus goes on at fullback, you then got to wonder, the experiment is still alive, so therefore, why do you not back it this weekend? So there we go. That is my views of the England selection in a snapshot. That's my views. Love to know yours. What's your thoughts? Jamie George, 100 caps. How good? Is the Marcus Smith experiment over? Do you agree? Do you like it? Are you happy with it? You're not? Fraser Dingwall in at 12. I like that. Do you like it? Love to know your comments. So please like and subscribe to the video, and you'll always get notified and never miss a YouTube video. Myself and Anthony Watson are back on Friday in audio forms. Wherever you listen to your podcast, listen to us, and we will be doing a huge preview of all the Six Nations games this weekend, and we cannot wait to share it with you.